Coming up this week on Sporting Journal Radio.
And the fishing with Live Target products was a success right out of the gate. So
There's fish.
we really enjoyed developing products for niche markets.
I fish, I hunt, and always will. Broadcasting from the Eau Claire Outdoors Studios. Presented by OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. We're not just a radio show anymore. This is Sporting Journal Radio. Welcome to the show. I'm Bret Amundson. Thanks for tuning in right here. Maybe you're watching this on YouTube. Thank you very much. That's Dan Amundson over there. Dan?
We're back.
We are back. After a couple of long days of travel, we're home from our Northwest Saskatchewan adventure at Tazin Lake Lodge once again. We're going to talk about that adventure up there, what was different this year, what surprised us. There were a couple of interesting things that took place, a couple of them while we were in the airplane too. We'll tell you what those were coming up in just a little bit. We were also in the boat with Trevor Montgomery from Tazin Lake Lodge and Vic Cook from Live Target and Mustad. We'll talk to them about their experience and what might be new from Live Target coming soon. See if we can get some info out of Vic while we're out there fishing at Tazin Lake Lodge. But first, Dan, who are the sponsors this week?
Live Target Lures. Match the hatch this summer at LiveTargetLures.com. Lake of the Woods Tourism. Lake of the Woods is the walleye capital of the world. Plan a trip for this summer, fall, or winter at LakeoftheWoodsMN.com. Haybell Heights Campground and Resort. Book a trip to Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Learn more at HaybellHeights.com. Ottertail Lakes Country. Find your inner otter year-round at OttertailLakesCountry.com. And Prairie Sportsman. We're going to be filming some new episodes pretty soon. You can watch old episodes anytime at the Prairie Sportsman YouTube channel or check your TV guide for airtimes.
That is your homework assignment. Check out our 4 YouTube channels, the Prairie Sportsman one, this one right here, Sporting Journal Radio, of course, the Tazin Lake Lodge one. We were up there filming a new season of Tazin TV, so find Tazin Lake Lodge on YouTube. And, of course, our new one, Fish Hunt Forever, where you can see our other fishing and hunting adventures on YouTube, Fish Hunt Forever. Dan, it's that time of year. Things are starting to change a little bit.
Yeah, fall was definitely in the air as we were leaving. The temps cooled down. You could feel it, even if it was warm, you could feel the wind was just crisp. Like I mentioned to Barry a few times, I'm like, man, I feel like it's a Sunday afternoon and tomorrow I got to get my backpack. And I haven't been in school in 5 years or whatever. I'm like, I got to get my backpack and make sure my shoulder pads are in the locker, my jersey's clean, and go to football practice after school tomorrow. I just had that feeling. Luckily, we don't have to do that. We just got to go fishing the next day. But fall's around the corner here, but up north, fall's set in.
Yeah. It was wild. There were a couple of days where we got up and Trevor's like, ooh, fall. You feel that? Fall is here. And then we'd see a message from back home here in Minnesota, and it was 100 degrees.
Yeah, I was glad we weren't there. And so were the surf scooters.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we saw all kinds of wildlife up there. We're going to talk about one of the reasons why we saw so much wildlife here in a minute. But it was interesting, Dan, when we left the island on the 13th, we flew out to Fort McMurray. I think it was like 70 degrees probably at the lodge.
If that. Probably cooler.
84 when we landed in Fort Mac. So
yeah, a couple 100 miles makes a difference, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, and that's not straight north either. That's kind of a northwest. It's or northeast direction to Tazin from there. But Lake Athabasca kind of creates its own weather up there, so it can be kind of interesting. But it was nice. We were up there for a couple of weeks and didn't have to deal with the hot temps that people have been dealing with down here in Minnesota. I'm okay with that. Especially, could you imagine laying in a wheat field in North Dakota right now and when it's 90 degrees?
Yeah, I've done it.
Yes.
I don't want to do it ever again.
Yeah, that's my biggest issue, I think, with the August Canada Goose season. It's fun. Everybody's anxious and itching to get out there, but I'm not ready for it.
Really? You keep talking about how you're ready for it. And now you can have the chance to go hunt. I don't know. I'm not ready. I can't wait for fall. Here you go. Yeah, it's here. Go hunt.
It's not here. That's the thing. Like, I am ready for fall. I'm ready to go hunting, but it's the middle of August. It's 90 degrees. It'll be swatting mosquitoes and sweating. I've done it too, and I've had some great trips.
The thing is, we kind of are making fun of it right now, but we're going to do the exact same thing in 2 weeks in September. It'll probably be about 95 degrees. The mosquitoes will be out. And
probably.
Be the exact same, but it'll be September, so it's different.
And it's weird. Like last year, Dan, we were doing that in Saskatchewan.
And it was like
90 degrees.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah, that's right. 30. But you'd think you'd gone up to Saskatchewan and it's September, that'd be a little bit cooler, but it was hot up there last year. So hopefully we don't quite have summer weather in September this year. But I don't know. Are you going to go to Game Fair this weekend? I know last weekend at Game Fair was real hot, and it looks like it's going to be again this weekend.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I kind of want to spend as little time in a car as possible the next few days. So probably going to skip Game Fair this year, although it'd be fun to go see a bunch of people and see what's new in the hunting world. I'll be honest, I haven't been keeping up with it this summer as much as I have in the past, so it'd be kind of cool to see what's going on in that world. But I think I'll skip it this year, and maybe I'll let you handle that one.
That's my plan. I think I might head down there this weekend. So if you're at Game Fair, hopefully I'll see you there. Stop and say hi if you see me. Might have Tiny walking around with me. But Dan, you've been too busy fishing all summer, and that's, every year about this time we ask that question: are you going to be more excited about fishing this fall or hunting? And the more you get into fishing, the more I think you're going to want to fish this fall.
I could go another month of summer before we think about hunting, and that won't be the case, but there's definitely going to be a few more days where we maybe won't force a sit in the deer stand or force a sit in a duck blind and go fish if things aren't favorable. We have that luxury. We talk about that. We don't have to hunt every day because we get to hunt almost every day. So if things don't line up, why force a hunt? And that probably won't pan out. Of course, some of those bad days you don't think are going to work out are good days, but maybe we can just jump in a boat if we got no wind and we want to try to shoot a mallard. Let's go fish instead and wait for a day with wind or the wrong wind in your tree stand. Don't sit there and get busted. Maybe we'll go try to catch some walleyes or a muskie or whatever. So options are out there, and I think the smoker craft's going to see a little more time when the leaves turn.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't start to think about hunting season as much as I'm excited for it. Like October is when I really start to think about it. Temps finally start to cool off a little bit. You start talking about the rut for deer and bow hunting. Fishing is still pretty good at that point, and duck hunting is starting to get a little bit better. Like the more I do it, I think the less I get excited about waterfowl hunting in September, at least here. Now, we're going to go up to Saskatchewan and hunt in September, and I'm looking forward to that, of course. But I like hunting late season mallards, so I'm going to look forward to waterfowl hunting a little bit later, and pheasant hunting when the crops come out. Although we saw so much of the crop coming out in Saskatchewan during our drive home here this last week. I think the crops are, I haven't talked to my farmer buddies back home here lately, but I have a feeling we're going to see some crops coming out early this year.
Yeah, more dry weather. That's kind of the case. The corn was standing pretty tall and got their leaves pointed up, wanting rain, it looks like, when we came in. But yeah, wheat was coming out. Wheat and oats, I'd assume, coming out in Saskatchewan and Alberta, and it was dry up there too. So we saw a lot of sloughs dry, but we saw a lot of sloughs looted with.
We wanted to do some looting. They were loaded.
The sloughs were looted with dukes. So
nice toque, eh? Take off. Yeah. There were ducks. The ponds that did have water, they had ducks in them all over the place, and ducks and geese. So I think we've got some good duck numbers. There definitely were some dry sloughs up there and some dry conditions. And in North Dakota, when we came down, there were some dry conditions there too. She's looking. The area needs some rain for sure. But hopefully, and it sounds like we got over 2 inches here last week in western Minnesota anyway, so could use a little bit more in any case. But Tazin could use some rain up there too, because as you've seen, while we were recording this, our air quality alert went off here locally for more smoke from Canadian wildfires. And when we were flying into Tazin Lake Lodge, here is a fire right next to Lake Athabasca. So you're looking at the south shore of Lake Athabasca. And if you were looking at the left side of the plain, you saw this wildfire. And if you were looking at the right side of the plain, you saw the Athabasca sand dunes. So it was something to look at on both sides of the plain, but pretty wild when we flew in. And it was safe the whole time, but you could see the smoke filling the sky as we were flying over Lake Athabasca, and the cabin started to get dark, and it was a completely different flight experience. And at one point it looked like Armageddon, and you could just see this bar of sunlight underneath. It looked like sunset when there's a summer storm and there's a sunset. So real dark clouds and just a band of light underneath those clouds as the clouds start to break. That's what it looked like as the sun peeked through underneath all this wildfire smoke. And we all kind of looked at each other in the plane like, well, if this is the end of the world, this is the place for the end of the world. This is the best place to be if it's the end of the world, because we're in a neat place up there. But the wildfires were were happening all around the area. Nothing too close to camp. We were never in any danger. The camp's fine. I know there's some more trips coming there this year, and people were worried about wildfires. Nothing near the camp, but a lot of smoke you'd have to deal with. There were a couple of days where it was hard to see the shoreline. There was so much smoke up there, Dan.
It makes you happy to have a Garmin with a trail where you can, see where you are and see where you're going. And hard to see. It made it hard to see in the water too. There's a lot of reefs with the low water. A lot of reefs that popped up that became dangerous, and it was kind of tricky. The water's so clear. Normally you can see them, right? Mm-hmm. But some of that smoke and weird lighting made it tricky to see in the water to find those reefs. So happy to have good electronics to mark that stuff.
The western side of Tazin Lake, the southwest corner down there, that burned right before we got up there, probably in June, I suppose. That fire was going, something around there. Pretty big fire, and we went down there and checked it out, and a landscape obviously looks a little bit different, but that pushed all the wildlife close to our camp. So we had the most moose sightings I think we've ever had this year. There were black bear sightings all over the place. There was a couple of really nice moose that we saw. This one, we started to call this Moose Bay. If you're watching the video, this moose hung out in this little bay right here. I don't know how many times we saw him going by, 4 or 5.
A lot. Yeah,
something like that. We kind of lost count, but every time we went that bay, he was in there hanging out. He's like, "What's up, guys? Fishing's open. Moose out front should have told you. Check it out." So really cool to see wildlife while we're up there. We did see a bunch of waterfowl. I saw a pintail up there for the first time. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of neat. Saw a bunch of mallards and, of course, surf scoters. So we were in some of those breeding areas. When the birds go up and you hear about them going up to northern Canada to breed, and you think that's so far away and in this foreign place, whatever. You're fishing in it at Tazin, and we actually saw a surf scoter brood while we were up there this year, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, we kind of struggled. Well, we didn't struggle. We just had to get close to see what they really were. But it was like, that's not what you look like in the pictures when you're looking at their summer colors and hens and little surf scoterlings. That's what I'm going to call them.
Scoterlings. And it was just 3. So 3 ducklings, hen, and just 3. And during our trip to Alaska last year, we talked to a biologist who talked about surf scoters and sea ducks in general. Their brood size is generally smaller. Like they have a harder time breeding than, say, puddle ducks or like mallards and pintails, things like that. Where those eggs, they might have 8 or 9 eggs in a clutch, where sea ducks will be quite a bit fewer, and that's what we saw. Only 3 swimming around. They definitely could have lost a couple to big pike, because I'm sure pike eat a lot of those surf scoters up there on that lake.
That'd be so. Okay, so that's what we need to talk to Live Target about next, is a surf scoter duckling bait.
Oh, I bet we could get Vic to design one of those. Vic from Live Target is coming up here on the show. We're going to talk to him about his trip to Tazin Lake Lodge and maybe find out a little bit about what might be coming out from Live Target here in the near future. Also, Trevor Montgomery. We'll jump in the boat with both of them when we come back on Sporting Journal Radio.
852 million acres of public land, 147 million private properties,
all in the palm of your hand.
The #1 hunting GPS app just got better. With hundreds of custom map layers, 3D and topographic maps, you can easily scout on the road or at home before you go. And now you can get important weather details, CWD detection, and even know what crops have been planted where. Get the most trusted hunting GPS app ever made. OnX. Know where you stand with OnX. Northern Minnesota's Walleye Factory is a year-round world-class fishing destination. The perfect getaway this summer is just a short drive to Lake of the Woods. Fish Big Traverse Bay, the Rainy River, or visit the unique Northwest Angle. To catch big fish, you have to go where the big fish are. Plan your trip to Lake of the Woods at lakeofthewoodsmn.com. That's lakeofthewoodsmn.com. Kodiak, a North American waterfowl film, is coming to the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel.
I've been a sea duck hunter for about 30 seconds, and I've already got one that's probably going to go on the wall, so this is the coolest duck hunt I've ever been on.
Presented by Boss Shot Shells, with support from Sitka and Beretta, and additional support from Eau Claire Outdoors, High Prairie Animal Arts, and the Association of Great Lakes Outdoor Writers. Watch Kodiak on the Fish Hunt Forever YouTube channel.
So we are out here on Tazin Lake right now, just trolling around looking for some of these big giant lake trout. I'm with Vic Cook from Live Target. Vic, how you doing?
I'm great here. fishing a beautiful lake with some great friends. So
Yeah, it's been a fun trip. We got 1 day left when we're recording this. We got 1 day left on the trip. What do you think of the lake?
well, first off, the lake is absolutely beautiful. You're talking about pristine environment, a great fishery. We've had just a blast here with these Lakers and the Pike. And it's world-class fishing, and it's all to ourselves. Yeah. It's fantastic.
Maybe the best part. It's so, we're so remote up here. It's scenic and it's quiet, and obviously trophy fish helps. But just like it's got kind of the whole package, right? It's like it's a neat adventure. It's cool to be here, and of course it's great fishing. It's a little bit of everything.
Everything.
What did you think when you landed on the lake? When you got here for the first time, what was your impression? Was it what you expected?
It was a little bit more than I expected. I kind of had this idea in my mind. I'd seen, some of the videos and talked to all of you, but flying in, the country's beautiful. The landscape is unbelievable. We saw these humongous dunes coming across. Some of these rivers emptying out into the lakes. It just absolutely beautiful. And then, I'm anticipating, Tazin Lake and the lodge, what it's all going to be look like. And we kind of come in, we fly down, we land, and it's this beautiful lake, very unique, surrounded by mountains. It's kind of its own little world. The water is crystal clear, and then there's the lodge. And then as we approach the dock, a group of people come out to greet us and take our bags. I mean, you felt like you were a world-class citizen here. It was spectacular, and then kind of walking around the lodge area and that. It's impressive. It's very impressive. And then there's the anticipation of the fishing.
I mean, that's kind of the best part, of course. The fishing here, the fishing pressure is relatively light. There's a big forage base, there's big fish here. And lots of water for these big fish to hide out in, no commercial netting, all that good stuff creates just kind of a unique experience. And it's been fun to use some of the live target baits up here. There's a couple of things that stood out for me yesterday. We needed a shore lunch pike, and I said, Vic, all right, I just want you to start casting this spot right here. And I just handed you a rod, and I'd had some other crankbait on it, and you're like, oh, well, I'll just throw this quick. We just need a quick fish. And he cast 5 or 6 times and didn't catch anything. And I said, wait a minute. You know what we need for this?
Yes. We need a live target will do the trick.
We need live target. So what do? We put on that perch jerk bait. What happened?
One cast.
First cast, done.
Locked on.
Eating
Locked
fresh
on.
Pike. And then today, same kind of thing.
I did wonder why we weren't throwing live target. So, but that's another story.
Yeah, we probably should have started with that right away. That bait that you were using, that lure, I used that up here a lot last year. It runs pretty shallow. It looks, of course, super realistic. The fish just couldn't resist it. We caught some lake trout on it too, but we really used it for pike because a lot of our bays have a lot of trees and grabby stuff down there. It's really easy to get hooked up and lose a lure. So having something that runs shallow like that jerk bait was perfect for us up here, and we caught a lot of fish. You can see it was all beat up from bouncing off, from getting chewed on and bouncing off some rocks and trees and things like that. But it's been a really good lure. And then today, on our way out here, we wanted a shore lunch fish as well. And what happened?
Well, Trevor, our host, said, here's a rod. Let's go cast it along the shoreline. There's some cabbage there. You'll pick up something, in a little bit. And I had to say, do you have a live target jerkbait that I could use? So he actually had a new one in the package. Opened it up. We threw it on and cast that out. Right away, first cast again. I guess there's something to those live target lures.
There definitely are, and they look really cool. And this year we brought up a big perch crankbait, and I think it looks great. I tried it out for the first time the other day, caught fish on it right away. And you've got it's a couple of different sizes with that one?
A couple different sizes, different
Colors.
depths, different colors, and it really to match the hatch, which of course is our DNA. So
Do we have, Trevor, do you have one? Do you have that one back there still? We'll show it to yeah, that's fine. We'll show it to the people watching this. So this is the one in my show. Yeah, this is the one I'm talking about right here. So, and it's got that rattle. Here's a smaller one, yeah.
That's a great bait calling predators from the deep. And again, the Live Target products are all, matching the hatch, okay?
Yeah.
But in profile, color patterns, and in action. That's where we spend our time and energy in developing products that can truthfully, you can utilize to catch any predator fish and match up any forage.
And you brought up a couple rattle baits for us, and I really like these bait ball rattle baits. These are nice. These are cool looking.
Rattle baits are we spend a lot of time in the design process, it's not just a typical rattle bait. It's got the flash, the multiple flash points because of the multiple bodies of fish, and great rattles. We concentrate on developing a sound that's a great fish, great attractor, great searching bait, great bait all the way around.
Yeah, and this is one of Trevor's favorites right here. As you can tell, it is well used. Big.
Yeah. We probably shouldn't be showing that because it's not made anymore.
That's about what I was thinking.
Trevor's going to make you start making it again.
It's highly priced. Well, yeah, maybe that's it. We can tell everybody how great it is, and we'll bring it back.
We don't want everybody to
You're going to get phone calls.
Yeah.
That's all right.
The price just went up on eBay.
See, I just made you money with it.
That's right. So let's go back. Let's just go back to the beginning a little bit. I mean, a lot of people watching this or listening to this probably know about Live Target, but tell me about Live Target and how long it's when you started it and what your mission was.
Well, Live Target was started back in 2007. My partner Grant Koppers, Canadian, and I. We started the company based upon trying to develop lures in the fishing and tackle industry that replicated bait fish. Truthfully, we started off. I came from fly fishing, so again, match the hatch. Really getting dialed into making a fly that exactly as possible replicated the forage. And Grant was the same way. Grant was a guide on the Niagara River, Ontario region. We grew up across the river from each other and got to know each other and decided that, pieces of plastic and pieces of wood that were, painted brightly or whatever to catch fish just didn't quite make sense. We looked to be disruptors. We looked to bring something to the market where, like in the fly fishing vein, you could design something that looked like the real thing, that acted like the real thing, and that we believe in profile. Profile is everything. So once you get the profile, then you match the color pattern to the forage. We multiple color patterns that can match the different waters, stained water, clear water, whatever, with our finishes. And that's how we got started. And to be honest with you, the concept, we proved the concept. And then we went into production, and Live Target didn't take long for Live Target to take off because you could see the difference. And then the key was you could fish the difference. And the fishing with Live Target products was a success right out of the gate. So
yeah, I remember when it started, there wasn't anything else like it out there.
Nothing. And this is what's in my mind what's really interesting, and it's confirmation of our premise, and that is, I keep Bass Pro Shop books, and Cabela's from every year back, and you can go back to 2007 and you can see what hard baits look like. Okay, because we started out with hard baits. And you look at them today. Well, back then there were no scale patterns. Heck, sometimes there weren't even eyes. And now you see in what the current productions from different companies, they got scale patterns, they've got fins, they've got eyes. And to me, that tells everything. That it must matter because everybody's doing it and selling something, that's an improvement over what there was.
You guys are trendsetters. Kind of change the industry.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, obviously that ultra realistic look is happening in a lot of places now. People are trying to replicate that, and I just remember being really impressed with how they looked and not seeing anything like that before that.
And I might add, that we didn't stop there. It's one thing to make something look just like the real thing, but the action is always very hard, very challenging. So we put a lot of emphasis during COVID, when we had time off, to really dig deep into adding action to the appearance. And so I think we're very innovative. We are the most innovative. And I'm not just bragging.
You're a little biased.
We are the most innovative lure developing company that exists. Yeah. And that's why we're being copied, and we are being copied. So we always have to stay one step ahead of everybody else.
You started with hard baits, but then you've since expanded into some other offerings under the Live Target name.
Exactly. We had to, we wanted to be an all-inclusive lure company. So we wanted to target freshwater, saltwater, hard baits, soft plastic baits, and bring new innovations into all of that. So, for example, in the soft plastics, what we've done is we've developed what we call the ICT series. This is an example of instead of taking just a plastic bait that has no real shape or reason to it, when it's supposed to mimic a certain forage, and we make it look like a forage in soft plastic. So we have an inner core that looks exactly like a bait fish, scale patterns and everything, and then it's surrounded by a clear exoskeleton to protect that. But the problem is, if you make an inner core that looks exactly like a bait fish, how do you get to swim right?
Yeah.
You got to have the boot tail. You got to have the action. You got to have the engine that makes the thing move. So the simple process, after careful development, was to make an outer exoskeleton that had all the necessities of making it swim right. But you make that clear while you have an inner body that looks like a bait fish, and now you got the best of both worlds. You got the most realistic soft plastic product available on the market. Just one expansion, and then of course there's salt water. So we expanded into salt water again, and into soft plastic and hard plastic bait. So
you won an ICAST award for that last year.
We won an ICAST award. Best in show in hard bait saltwater category. I'm very proud to say that Live Target has 13 best in show awards, ranging from saltwater to freshwater, soft plastic to hard plastic, and in 1 year we won 3 awards. Three different categories. So again, awards are nice, but I think it's the culmination of hard work, pride in what we do, and our team that works effortlessly to create the products and the vision that's provided by the founders. So,
winning those awards obviously is going to make you feel proud of the company and what you've done with it. But is there something aside from the awards that maybe a lure you designed or something that really took off that makes you say, yeah, this is what I achieved with Live Target?
Well, I think the awards are great, but every single product that we make is brought to market when we feel that it is the best it can be, and so each one of those that comes out of production and goes into retail is a product that we're very proud of, and we've all fished and we catch product, we catch fish on it. So every time we cast one of those, it doesn't matter whether it wound up winning an award or not, it's something that we have confidence in being a great fish catcher for our anglers, and we pride ourselves on the fact that we build products for everyone, the average, the novice angler, all the way up to the pros, and yes, the awards are when you have something very special that you know is so different and solves a problem. And really, that's how we start. We start with solutions for the angler. That's how we start off a concept. How can we solve this problem with this particular product? And then when you're recognized nationally and internationally, yeah, that's it's high five and then go back to work and do the next one.
How often do you get a phone call or an email or somebody comes up to you at a show and says, you need to make this? I've got this idea. Like Trevor back here. He's had a couple ideas for you. I bet that happens a lot.
3 times a day.
With that line, and there's probably a lot of guys that are avid anglers that are out there watching this or listening to this saying, gosh, I've always wanted to make this, or I think I could do this. Some guys are making their own lures, some homemade stuff at home.
Some pretty cool stuff sometimes.
What's been the biggest challenge when making a viable fishing lure? Not only one that catches fish, but that's going to be something that's going to be viable as a marketable product.
Well, when Grant and I started the company, we really enjoyed developing products for niche markets. A small pocket, a region that had some seasonality to it, that we could solve, an issue for anglers. Really create a niche bait. That was very, very exciting. But things like that have become very, very hard these days when you're developing a product, you have to have forecasts that will have X number of sales. You have to have a certain margin to return. So some of those doors to those kind of products have been closed. And then, to be quite honest with you, government. Government gets its hands in everything, as we know.
Yeah.
But even in making lures, I'll give you an example. We love our country. We want to build everything here. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you how hard we tried to do that, but certain painting operations, certain things, just we can't do it. We had one project that we pulled from outside of the country to be made, and we were going to make it locally in my hometown. Actually made the product. But when it came time to, hands-on, putting hooks on, split rings, and getting the process painted, between the EPA and then, cost of labor and environmental stuff, which we are very respectful of. My God, we're fishermen. We want to preserve our environment probably more than the average conservationists out there, so the lay people.
Sure.
It's very hard. It's very hard. Too many things coming into play. But you find a way.
I know you fish salt a lot, and I've told you this a number of times, especially after coming up here. I've never said I need to go to Florida and fish in the ocean, and then I did it with you last year, and now I want to go fish in Florida in the ocean all the time. Like, I was blown away by that saltwater fishing down there.
My partner Grant Koppers, I brought him down one time. Years and years ago. Grant and I have been friends for, 25 years. And after that one time down in Florida, he goes, I'm never going saltwater fishing again. Because if I do, I'll never freshwater fish. and that's kind of an unfair statement, but the reality is that they all have their draw and appeal.
Yeah.
Saltwater is different. So if you're a common freshwater fisher, you get a taste of those big fish, and which is why we love the lake trout here. I mean,
Right.
we're out here right now hunting for big lake trout because it's just a fantastic fish. So, saltwater fishing is I do a lot of that.
Yeah, and I mean, the fish down there fight so much harder than I was expecting them to, and that's what I like about it up here. And honestly, it becomes a question of how many hobbies and how much can you afford to do.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you got to pick one. It's like musky fishing. I understand the appeal, but I'd have to like sell body parts to be able to afford it at this point.
Right.
It's like Tazin and these big lake trout up here is really kind of grabbed a hold of me. Obviously, I'm a walleye fisherman back home, and that's what I'll do most of the time when I'm back in Minnesota. But man, I come up here every chance I get because not only the big lake trout here, but the big pike that you can get here too. And
I was going to say, don't discount the pike fishing.
Well, and
here.
and you catch some of those mid-upper 40s, or once you catch a 50, you want to catch every 50. So then it becomes like musky hunting and musky fishing at that point. You want to come up here and catch all the big fish, and even the action fish up here. Those lake trout, as you've seen this week, it's almost like the smaller lake trout are on a different level up here. Like they're wilder and just mad at the world. Like, why do I have to be up here with a 3-month summer and 9 months of winter?
Yeah.
Why couldn't I have been born in Florida? They're just mad at the world. But it's been a lot of fun, and obviously we've been using a lot of live target stuff up here. Now with live target being part of the Mustad family, there's a lot of options there. You got rods, you got line, you've got swivels, you got hook, of course the hooks, and that new jaw lock that came out last year that I got to see down there at ICAST,
being part of the Mustad family is been a great step forward. We've married a great lure company with a great hook company, and to have that ability when building a lure, one of the problem areas is matching the hook to that lure to keep the balance, to keep the fish on. And to have a company like Mustad that will work hand in hand with you, and we actually started our relationship when we were developing a swim bait series. We needed custom hooks for our swim baits, and boy, I'll tell you what, the expertise that Mustad brings to the table, the people there are as passionate and as precise as we felt that we were. So it has been a great marriage so far. So I only think that things are going to get better.
Well, what else? When you talk about things getting better, what else might be on the horizon? What can we look for? Anything you can talk about?
Expect to see some soft plastics, some unique soft plastics that are going to be take a little bit different direction. You're going to see from Mustad, introduced at ICAST and award-winning at FTEX this year, the new Alpha Point, which is going to concentrate on the freshwater market, specific techniques of the bass market. New Alpha Point system is going to provide you with literally the sharpest, most deeply penetrating hooks available on the market, with special coatings that are going to prevent corrosion. So look for that, and look for that on some potential live target baits, which is different than the Ultra Point. The Ultra Point has its unique place as well. Any saltwater fisherman knows that you don't go fishing without Mustad Ultra Point. So lots of exciting things coming.
New Tazin Lake series of live target baits.
Now there you go. There you go.
I got some ideas. I know Trevor's got the wheels spinning up there.
Well, that's two requests today already. No, 3.
There'll be a third one, I promise.
Oh yeah, we ain't done.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're out here trolling on Tazin Lake right now, looking for those big lake trout. Looks like there's one down there right now. Let's see if we can get you big fish, Vic.
Sounds great.
Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Live Target, the leader in Match the Hatch, is back with new lures that also match the action. Introducing the Live Craw. The Live Craw is irresistible to bass, walleye, and other freshwater species. FTEX winner, the Ultimate Frog, looks and acts just like a swimming frog. With an exposed Ultra Point Mustad hook and replaceable legs, the Ultimate Frog has 2 styles, 2 sizes, and 8 colors. And ICAST and FTEX winner, the Live Shrimp, mimics a fleeing shrimp for saltwater anglers. Coming soon from Live Target.
Did you know there are more than 1,000 lakes in Otter Tail County?
Yep, and I'm gonna fish as many as I can. I'm an outdoorsy otter. Nothing beats a full day of fishing for me. The lakes of Otter Tail County give me plenty of options to lower my boat and snag the perfect catch. Not an outdoorsy otter? No problem. Otter Tail County has something for everyone. You just need to find your inner otter.
To find your inner otter, go to OttertailLakesCountry.com. Devil's Lake is legendary, and this summer has been legendary for walleyes. Don't miss out. Call Haybale Heights Campground and Resort today to book one of their modern cabins on East Bay. The cabins are furnished with a full bathroom, kitchen, and all the amenities like high-speed internet, and are clean following CDC guidelines. Staying at Haybale Heights gives you full access to a private boat launch, fish cleaning station, and beach area. Learn more at haybaleheights.com. That's haybaleheights.com. Plan your trip to legendary Devil's Lake today.
All right, Trevor Montgomery is with us now here, along with Vic Cook here in the boat. We're on Tazin Lake looking for big lake trout. Trevor, how's it going?
It's great. Every day on Tazin is great.
It's not bad. Beautiful day out here right now.
It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, you gotta love it. It's almost the end of the season. How's summer been?
It's been a great summer. It's been very dry this year. A lot of forest fires, was fairly smoky. We're starting to get some rain. You know, it's coming into fall time weather, and it's just beautiful. You know, fish has been good.
It was kind of wild there early in the year. I saw some pictures before we got up here about all the wildfire smoke, and then when we got here, there were a couple of days where you couldn't see islands in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, it's nice now. You know, the wind's blowing it out. We had a couple 2.5 day rain. That really helped out to slow everything down again. So,
lake is down this year.
It is. Yes, it's down 3.5 feet probably by now, maybe 4 feet earlier in the season. So it's definitely changed things a little bit from the looks of it, and you know, weeds where they grow, and a few rocks close to the surface now.
You know, people watching or listening to this back home know about Devil's Lake and how that lake has fluctuated so much. You know, Jason Mitchell was just up here. Having the water down, I mean, obviously you're still going to fish some of your favorite spots, but really it's made some areas completely different this year. It's almost like a new lake in some places.
Absolutely, yeah. There's weeds growing where they haven't grown before, and you know, it just changes, like I say, areas we can access, changes a number of things that way.
You're going to be open for the fall spawn a little bit this year. You've been doing that the last couple of years. That's kind of a wild time up here.
Absolutely, yeah. We're really looking forward to it too as well. You know, it's such a great time of year. The weather's nice, there's no bugs, and usually the fishing's pretty darn good. Once those trout all move up, I wouldn't want to be a pike in the shallows at that time. You know?
Yeah. We went on a little mission looking for fall spawning reefs and new weed beds. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously you've been around every inch of this lake before, but being able to go around it again with different conditions like this, it was kind of a fun adventure.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really neat to go out and check out areas and look at other areas that I haven't been to for a little while now, you know, especially with the conditions being lower water. Often there is weeds growing that you can see now that you couldn't see before.
It was a fun year up here. I got up late, but from what I saw before I got up here, it looked like you guys had a great time. It was a busy season, a lot of guests rolling through here, but it was more of a family season. I felt like Barry had some of his family up, you had some of your family up. Bradshaw's still up here with us right now. How nice was it to have family up here?
Oh, it was awesome. You know, this is the first year that all of my family's been up here, not all at the same time, but all my two older sons, Thomas and Ashton, came to help open camp the early season, and then in July, my wife, Elizabeth, and my 3 other kids, Leo, North, and Bradshaw, come up, and then Bradshaw's been working since the wife and the other 2 kids left. He's been up here working with us. So
that's a pretty cool experience to get as a, what is he, 13?
Yeah, 13.
13, and working at a northern Saskatchewan fishing camp.
Absolutely. Yeah, and he's loving it. It's right in his skill set. He's loving the fishing, loving learning a number of new skills and that.
Including how to make fishing lures out of old spoons.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, he found a spoon at shore launch and put it in the boat, and we ended up working it over, put some, he wire brushed it up, sanded it down, drilled a hole in it for a swivel. There's already 2 holes in it for the handle. Where the handle used to go. And then, threw some glow paint on, and today he's caught a number of fish on it.
Yeah. So, it's hard to say how old that spoon might have been because, in the elements. Oh,
fish on,
there's
boy.
fish.
Nice.
Well, that's good timing. Lost it.
That's good.
What? Trevor, you had one job.
Wow.
Catch fish on the show. All right. Well, he might still be following.
Pike right to the bait block.
They're real aggressive. You've had them come and hit a second time in situations like that, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's just go back to the spoon for 1 second. You don't always know how old stuff like that is because in the elements things can rust pretty quickly. But the Tazin Lake Lodge is one of the oldest active fishing lodges in Saskatchewan. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of history on this lake. That spoon could have been pretty old.
Absolutely, it sure could have been.
You know, I mean, you're not even going to guess. Right? You can probably say, 2018.
Sure. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
2015.
But in any case, it caught some fish. That was pretty neat.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure it probably caught some pike on it the second spot we went through too as well, I would think.
Oh yeah. Yeah. For sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he's thought of his adventure? How long has he been up here?
We get up 9th of July, I think it was. Something like that.
So over a month.
Yeah.
About a month?
Right around a month. Yeah.
It's gonna. What are all his friends gonna say when he gets back?
Yeah, well, I know he said he's been, of course, sharing some snaps and things like that, and yeah, they're pretty pumped, you know. And of course, he's seen some bears. He hasn't seen a moose yet, but we're hoping.
How does that happen? Because
everybody else seen 100 moose, but he's seen a couple bears, 3, 4 bears. So
this is the most moose sightings that you can remember up here, right?
Oh yeah, it's unbelievable. Those fires have definitely moved the moose around, you know.
Yeah, there was a fire pretty close, and
yeah, it burned up the west shoreline of the lake all the way up and farther north too as well, and definitely has concentrated some of those animals.
Those fires, I mean, they happen every year. It's just part of dealing with, you know, life in the north.
Yeah.
It was cool. Flying in from Fort McMurray a couple of years back, we saw one off in the distance, but this year coming in, there was kind of a bigger one along the south shore of Lake Athabasca. So when we were flying and crossing the river, you know, about to cross the lake, Athabasca, the sand dunes were on the right and the wildfire was on the left. And then when we came over the lake, I mean, it was like Armageddon, the amount of smoke and the way the sunset was coming through the smoke. Obviously, we had a great pilot, and you know, they know what they're doing when they're flying. But it was wild. Like all of a sudden, the cabin got a little dark, and we all kind of looked at each other. We were like, "Well, if this is the end, this is a great place to be."
I hear you. That's for sure. Yeah, it was quite unique with some of the way the smoke streams came across. That's for sure. You know, it was like red sky or darkened. It was kind of eerie a little bit. You know, it seemed like it was a real dark day, evening time, or whatever, even in the light of the day. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know there's a couple of times, you know, the Linder media crew was up, Jeremy Smith, Jeff Simpson, and Mike Hayner, and they were filming in the middle of the day out here, and they were using their camera light. You know, it was kind of wild to see that. And even on an overcast day, I like to use a light sometimes, but it was clearly pretty dark because of that smoke.
Yeah.
At lunchtime, basically. So that was kind of neat. We had Jason Mitchell was here too. The Linder crew was here. Obviously, Vic is here now. It's been kind of a fun summer with some TV shows.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. No, it's been good to get to know some new people too as well. You know, it's been great that way.
We had a crew. You know, I always like to tell this story, or people always ask how I got up here originally, and that was because we came up and filmed that TV show Northland Outdoors back in whatever it was, 2016.
Yeah.
And that show still airs at times and places, but there were a couple of guys from rugby that came up here in North Dakota, and they saw that show in 2016 when it came out, and then said, we should go there someday. And here they are, 2023. They just came back and got their trip of a lifetime at Tazin.
Absolutely. Yeah, they had a great trip. So like they had a lot of fun.
Yeah. So we did a lot more jigging this year up here, or we have and you have. Trolling obviously has been more productive historically, and to me it's kind of a relaxing way to fish. It can be a long day sitting out here trolling, especially if the bite is off a little bit. You know, we put our hours in out here for sure. I mean, I'd like to say you have a great chance to catch a big fish here, but it isn't always easy, like anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's never a guarantee. But jigging them, and I got to jig one up on the live scope, a 40.5 incher, and jigging those fish. I know I've heard about a few bites this year have been kind of soft bites during jigging, but most of my experiences with those big 40 plussers, it's like a freight train coming in and smoking that jig.
Absolutely, yeah. Jigging is fun. We've been spending quite a bit more time on it. You know, last year we started doing a fair bit more when we were fishing for the action size fish, and I guess tweaking it and figuring out kind of how it works most effectively. And now, of course, we've turned that over and utilized that towards the larger fish too as well. So there's nothing like setting the hook and it not moving.
Your rod doesn't move.
Oh, it's unbelievable. You know, that's for sure. We had I had one in my boat this year that was a great big one, and set the hook on that.
48 incher?
48 incher, yeah, by 29 or 30.
Jeez.
You know what? According to the calculation formula, it says about 50 pounds, 50.38 pounds or something like that. And it was a beautiful fish. There's no doubt in my mind it was awesome. It was a super monster.
It was a long fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great fight, up and down, up and down. It was about 95 feet of water, I think, or 100 feet of water. But it hit like a walleye.
Soft bite.
Yeah, well, it was just like a tap. And he set the hook, and it's like, oh, and then all of a sudden, the nice thing jigging straight up and down too with not having to run the big weights is you don't need quite as heavy as a rod, you know, so you can have a little bit more, and it's more direct, you know, it's you fighting the fish directly with nothing else in between, so it adds an element of, you know, excitement.
I mean, I think that's the ultimate jigging one of those big fish, but I'll tell you, I've had this live scope. Actually, Danny Thompson let me borrow his live scope too, so I could record the screen on it and get some better footage that we'll have in Tazin TV, by the way. But I think I had a medium light mustad rod this year up here, a spinning rod, and we were jigging for the smaller size lake trout, the action trout, on the live scope, and I had some of the most fun jigging fish that I maybe have ever had.
Yeah.
Spotting them on the live scope, and then, you know, you're walleye fishing with fish that fight 10 times harder.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the couple of nights that we went out and experienced the live scope and had some fun with that. That was amazing.
You haven't
up and down. And
you hadn't really used one before much, had you?
just in the ice castle in the wintertime there with you.
When I brought it up last year.
Yeah, to see that, definitely, it's on the list.
Are you buying one on the way home?
I don't know about the way home, but there's a good chance one might show up under the Christmas tree this year.
Man. It's about to wrap up for this year. You got some September guests coming up. I know John Cleveland is coming up. Larry Ladowski with Midwest Outdoors is coming up. And then you got some guests, obviously. So September's going to be a lot of fun. I'll be a little bit jealous.
We'll send you pictures every day.
Oh, good. Great. I appreciate it.
Just to keep you in the loop.
But we're looking at 2024 right now, and some dates have already been getting booked up.
Yeah, definitely. We've had, you know, a number of clients that booked up or rebooked for the dates that they were in already too as well. And, you know, if you're planning a vacation or if you're planning a fishing trip, always best to, you know, call and figure out dates sooner rather than later. That's for sure. We got some great dates available. We would love to extend the trout season a little bit more next year too as well. And the beauty of the trout season in September is that the pike are voracious and they're heaviest, you know, before they go into that winter kind of dormancy. And so they're feeding like crazy, and everything's just churned all up and messed all up together. Everything's everywhere. Yeah, so it's a real exciting time.
All right, I'll be there.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
Sounds good.
I'm just going to stay. You know, I love it up here, this trip. Like we were talking before we got on the boat today, Trevor, because it's our last full day here at the lodge today. It's never enough time up here.
No, it sure isn't. You know, the season goes by so fast. And then boom, it's done, and heading home again, or, you know, closing up camp. We started flipping boats over. Barry and I yesterday flipped 3 boats over during the day. You know, that's that thing that really tells you, oh, okay, winding down for another year. You know, it makes you feel your seasons. That's for sure.
Well, I'm coming up for a longer time next year. I'm just saying it right now.
I figured you probably would. I was amazed.
Well, we had stuff going on this year, and
of course, yeah. So famous now.
So famous. So you want an autograph?
Yeah.
Too bad. I'm not signing autographs. Too famous for it. All right. Well, Trevor, thanks for having me up again. Of course. Good luck the rest of the season. You too, Barry and Vic. Thanks for coming up as well.
Oh, my pleasure.
Sporting Journal Radio is a division of Macaba LLC. If you've got a question, comment, or story idea for us, send us an email. Go to sportingjournalradio.com. While you're there, you can learn how to advertise on the show and visit our store for hats, hoodies, coffee mugs, and more. Go to sportingjournalradio.com.